everyone. Dick and Andy here. I'll be talking about the statewide perspective of the Urban Forest Inventory Program. Overall, quick overview here, if I can get the things to work right. There we go. I'll be talking about where our program's been and how Urban FIA has shifted our viewpoint on where our program's going. And then Andy's going to talk about where our program's going and how Urban FIA is incorporated into an overall urban forest assessment program. So traditionally, urban forestry is focused on managing public trees. That's typically street trees and park trees. And a traditional urban forest inventory has collected data on individual trees so that it directs the management of a population of those individual trees. Now, state urban forestry programs have traditionally been an assistance to communities to develop those public tree management programs. And our state inventory, if you will, has really not been an inventory of the forest, but an assessment of community programs so that we can identify management gaps and direct our assistance to help fill those gaps. The result, unfortunately, though, is that urban foresters at the state level have become program managers, not forest managers. But DNR Urban Forestry's mission is really to sustainably manage Wisconsin's forests to provide the full array of benefits. So how do we become forest managers? Well, the first thing we did was look at our definition of urban forest. It's pretty all-inclusive, so why are we still focused on just the public trees? So next, we really shifted our viewpoint, and viewed from above, the canopy is a network of green. It is a canopy, and the ownership boundaries are really invisible, so you're really looking at a forest. So the next thing we did is looking at our purpose. It had been pretty much focused on how to manage, but shifting that to how and why, the why being all the benefits that our urban forests provide. The problem with that is that those benefits don't hold any weight unless they are quantified. People can see exactly what they're really getting out of those benefits. So how do we quantify all this? Well, in 2002, we had an opportunity to do a plot-based inventory of our street trees. This was what we knew. This is who we focused on at the time. But we also had a tremendous opportunity to work with the National Forest Health Monitoring pilot program in urban and do a plot-based inventory that basically used the precursor to the Urban FIA protocols. So we looked at our urban area. You can see the urban area back then was defined as 1,000 people. It's now 500 per square mile, which has included a lot more of the smaller communities. And it was at the 6,000, the one plot per 6,000 acres. That gave us 111 plots, but it was across all ownerships. It wasn't just the public trees. We took data on the trees and the cover, and then we ran that data through an urban forest, the U4 analysis, which was the precursor of iTree Eco. So what we got out of that was the value of the urban forests to communities, not just the data about the trees, but the value that's provided. And you can see that there's a good number there. We've got 27 million trees back then, 11 billion in its replacement cost, and some of the ecological values that were provided by that. But the neat thing about Urban FIA is that it also looks at the private trees, and the private trees provide additional benefits. In this case, the energy savings, so that there's more information when you're looking across all properties, and it increases the value. The composition data that we took gave us a lot of information about the forest, and it revealed a systemic risk, the lack of species evenness. We had way too many of maple and ash. So what's the big deal about that? Well, of course, emerald ash borer. EAB is in Wisconsin. 1/5 of our urban forest is ash. We are bound to lose those with a significant cost and lost benefit value. So what did we do with this Urban FIA information? Well, interestingly, our forestry leadership folks are really data geeks. This captured their interest. They are used to using traditional FIA data to manage the forest and establish value of the products that the forest preserves. So that's a real nice bridge to the traditional forestry leadership. And we were in the process of doing a reallocation of resources, and the forest leadership team took funding from other programs internally. They didn't ask for more. They rearranged money and put money into urban forestry to establish an urban forest inventory program just like all the other forests of the state. So we resulted in a 33% increase in our support from the internal power structure in DNR forestry. The value and threat information really captured the interest of the state legislature. In 2009, the governor put out a budget that zeroed out our grant program. And our advocates around the state used the Urban FIA data, specifically that value and the threat, and testified in front of the legislature's Joint Finance Committee asking to restore the grant. And in fact, that was a compelling argument, and they did restore it, or at least 99% of that. So really, how does this change what we do? Well, the value results changed our overall program strategy. It's moved from helping community governments manage just their public trees to helping the entire community maximize benefits of their urban forest. The value and benefits resonate with decision makers. Urban FIA won't help manage individual trees, but it will generate support for both state and community programs. And the composition results changed our policies. As an example, our urban forestry grant program primarily funded tree management projects. But with that information about value, it shifted our policy to funding forest resilience. As an example, we don't provide grants for planting overrepresented species like maple and ash. So this gives state programs a tool to set goals for the state and can also set an example for all communities to emulate. So I'm going to shift this over to Andy, and he's going to talk about where we're going and how we're incorporating Urban FIA into our entire program.